There's a theory in botany called crown shyness. In a healthy forest, if you look up, you'll see the branches never quite touch. They leave gaps, cracks of sky between the canopy. Scientists say it's wind abrasion, trees avoiding damage to their limbs. My mentor, Dr. Howard Voss, had a different theory. He believed some forests leave gaps deliberately to watch what walks beneath them. The scientific community called him a crackpot, revoked his tenure. He died alone in 2017, still obsessed with Blackwood Ridge, Oregon, a forest that swallows people and never gives them back. I'm Dr. Chen. I was Howard's last student before they forced him out. I spent 3 years trying to prove him wrong. On November 14th, 2019, my graduate student, Noah Evans, walked into Blackwood Ridge with 2 friends. They never came back. But 24 days later, their cameras appeared in my office desk. No note, no explanation, just 3 SD cards in a plastic bag. The security footage from that night shows someone entering my office at 3:47 a.m., the same minute Noah's body cam stopped recording in the forest. What I found on those cards proved Howard right. The forest isn't a place, it's a process, a digestive system that feeds on consciousness itself. And once it tastes you, it never stops reaching. I know because I can feel roots growing in my veins right now. Let me tell you what happened, because I don't have much time left. 3 days before they disappeared, Noah came to my office. He wanted to do his thesis on Mycorrhizal Networks, how fungi connect tree root systems into what researchers call the Wood Wide Web. When I told him to avoid Blackwood Ridge, he asked why. I made the mistake of showing him Howard's research. 47 miners vanished there in 1987 during a tunnel collapse. Rescue teams found the shaft completely empty. No bodies, no equipment, just roots. Gray roots that shouldn't exist half a mile underground. Noah said bodies don't vanish, they decompose. That's exactly what Howard believed. They don't vanish, they're converted. On November 14th, Noah drove into the mountains with Ryan Cole, a YouTuber documenting missing hikers, and David Miller, Ryan's childhood friend. Ryan was a good kid under all that performance, always filming, always narrating. But 3 years ago, his younger brother vanished in those mountains. I checked the records after. It wasn't the Cascades like Ryan thought. It was Blackwood Ridge. He'd been searching the wrong forest for 3 years. Or maybe the forest led him back. The morning they left, Ryan was showing Noah some ridiculous dance trend from TikTok. Noah laughed, actually laughed. David filmed them, said it was for Ryan's channel, just 2 friends being idiots. That was the last normal moment any of them had. David was an Eagle Scout. He packed 3 days of supplies for what was supposed to be a 4-hour hike, and he brought his grandfather's compass, a brass antique from 1952. It saved his life once when he got lost at age 12. He believed in it. That belief kept him conscious far longer than the others. They hired a local driver, Caleb Frost, 73 years old, blind in one eye from what he calls a childhood accident involving tree sap. But that wasn't sap. That was the forest marking him. Caleb was 9 when he got lost in Blackwood. The forest tasted him, then made him an offer. Bring us food, and you can keep living outside. Or maybe the forest just convinced him it was his choice. Maybe Caleb thinks he's free, but he's just another root, an extension that walks on two legs. The footage starts at 11:47 a.m. Ryan's filming everything, narrating for an audience that doesn't exist yet. Noah's in the back seat, rubbing his temples. He says his head feels wrong, pressure behind his eyes. Their GPS shows their location 40 miles offshore in the Pacific Ocean. All three phones, same reading. David pulls out his grandfather's compass. It's gyroscopic, doesn't react to magnetic fields, but it's spinning, slowly, clockwise. Like something massive is pulling at it. Caleb just smiles in the rearview mirror. Then it ain't reacting to magnetism, son. At 12:04 p.m., the car stops. The engine doesn't sputter or die, it just stops, like someone unplugged reality. Caleb turns around, looks at each of them. The forest is awake today. Don't follow voices, don't trust the light, and don't fall asleep under the canopy. Ryan's question: "My brother said the trees were singing before he disappeared. Do you think he heard something real?" Caleb looks at him with something like pity. "I think he heard what he wanted to hear, son. That's why he stayed." They start walking at 12:11 p.m. The trees are massive, Pacific cedars, some over 800 years old. But as they go deeper, the bark changes, turns gray, ash-colored. Noah touches one, says it feels warm, body temperature. Now I understand. Howard believed physical contact was just the first stage. The forest tastes you through touch. But attention, true sustained attention, that's what roots you. That's what lets it map your consciousness. The forest is silent. No birds, no insects, no wind. Just their footsteps and Ryan's voice. But Ryan's getting quieter. The further they walk, the less he performs. At one point, he just whispers to the camera. It feels like something's watching us breathe. Then the separation. At 12:34 p.m., I've timed this frame by frame, Noah stops to tie his boot. The camera keeps moving forward with Ryan and David. When Noah stands up and calls out, there's no response. The path behind him is smooth. Noah's panic, breathless. He runs, calls their names. His voice doesn't echo, it's absorbed by the trees. And then he sees it. At least, his brain interprets it as a door. 30 feet tall, carved into living bark, brass handle. But it's not really a door. It's an opening, a wound in the tree. But his mind can't process what it actually is, so it clothes the wrongness in familiar shapes, makes the incomprehensible comprehensible. And it's open, light spilling out.
Noah reaches for the handle. On the footage, you can see his hand shaking. He knows this is wrong, but he's lost, desperate, and the light looks warm. He pushes it open, and he's in Caleb's SUV. Engine humming, rain on the windshield. Ryan scrolling his phone, everything normal. Too normal. Ryan says they never reached the trailhead, the road washed out. Noah passed out from altitude sickness. They're heading back to town. But Noah looks out the window. The same tree, over and over, repeating like a glitch in reality. And then he looks at Caleb's hands on the steering wheel. The skin is cracked, peeling. Underneath, movement. Something fibrous, brown. Roots. They burst from the dashboard, wrap around Noah's wrists. The smell hits, rotting mulch, sulfur, wet earth. The windows fog over with green condensation that pulses like it's alive. Caleb speaks. His mouth doesn't move. The conversion is painless if you dream. Noah thrashes, breaks free, throws himself against the door. Into sunlight. A breakfast table, wooden, polished, the smell of coffee and bacon. He's at Mrs. Gable's Airbnb, where they stayed the night before. Ryan's buttering toast. David's reading a comic book, something about superheroes, bright colors. Mrs. Gable pours coffee, smiling, but her eyes are too wide, unblinking. Noah tries to explain the forest, the car, the roots. Ryan tells him he's having a panic attack, that they went to Blackwood yesterday, got their footage and left. Everything's fine. But Noah touches his coffee, ice cold. He looks at the eggs on his plate, perfectly yellow, but they don't smell like anything, like plastic. Like a photograph of food. He lifts his sleeve. There's something on his forearm, a thin green shoot growing from his skin. A vine rooted in his veins, flowering with tiny white blossoms. Mrs. Gable's smile widens. Her jaw dislocates with a wet crack. When she speaks, it's with dozens of voices, old miners, lost hikers, children from centuries ago. You opened the door, Noah. You let us taste you. Now you're ours. The walls peel away like bark. The sunlight turns violet, and Noah falls through the floor, through soil, through root systems, back into the forest. He's clutching what he thought was a table. It's a log, rotting, covered in black moss that pulses like a slow heartbeat. This is how the forest digests you. It doesn't kill you. It offers you escapes, safe places, warm memories. And every time you accept the illusion, every time you let yourself believe you're safe, you sink deeper. Howard thought the hallucinations were tests, that the forest was learning how you think, mapping your consciousness. But maybe there's no intelligence behind it. Maybe it's just reflex, like a Venus flytrap. It doesn't think, it just closes when something touches it. Or maybe that's what I need to believe. Noah looks up. Ryan and David are standing in front of him, but they're wrong. Ryan's jaw is unhinged. Hanging loose against his chest. Inside his throat is a sapling growing, small, delicate, white flowers blooming from his trachea. He's still breathing. You can see his chest rise and fall, but he's not speaking with his mouth anymore. The voice comes from the tree inside him, rustling through leaves, and it sounds peaceful. Noah, it doesn't hurt. It's actually beautiful. You can feel everything, the whole forest, all at once. I can feel him, Noah. My brother. He's here. He's been here the whole time. I found him. Ryan found what he was looking for, just not the way any of us wanted. David's worse. His legs have fused together. Bark has grown over his thighs, his waist, his chest. He's rooted to the ground. His arms are stretched out like branches, fingers elongating into twigs. But his eyes are still human, still aware. And they're crying. Not tears. Sap. Thick, amber sap, running down bark that used to be skin. His grandfather's compass is embedded in the bark of his chest, still spinning, still trying to find north, still trying to find something to believe in. He's trapped, fully conscious, feeling himself convert cell by cell, and he's going to feel it for years, decades, maybe centuries. Howard thought belief could protect you, that if you held on to something real, something true, the forest couldn't fully digest you. But looking at David, I understand now. Belief doesn't save you. It just keeps you aware while you're consumed. It's not a shield. It's a curse. Through the trees, 50 yards away, Noah sees it. The white SUV. Engine running. Headlights on. Caleb is behind the wheel. He's looking in the rearview mirror. But he's not looking at Noah. He's looking past him. Through him. Noah screams for help, runs toward the car. But Caleb doesn't react, because to Caleb, Noah isn't there anymore. He's already part of the forest. Already converted. Caleb shifts into drive. The SUV rolls away, disappearing into violet fog. Something wraps around Noah's ankle. A root, gentle, almost affectionate. The vine from his forearm has grown. It's spreading down his torso, into his legs. Underneath his skin, he can see it moving, branching, reaching for his heart. Noah stops fighting, falls to his knees, and closes his eyes. The camera keeps recording for another 43 minutes. Just darkness, and the sound of something wet. Organic, cellular, the sound of a body becoming something else.
I found the footage on December 8th, 2019, 24 days after they disappeared. Someone left it on my office desk. 3 SD cards in a plastic bag. No note, no explanation. The security footage from that night shows someone entering my office at 3:47 a.m., but the video is corrupted, just static. Except the timestamp, 3:47 a.m., the exact minute Noah's body cam stopped recording in the forest. Either someone retrieved the cameras from Blackwood and delivered them to me, or the forest delivered them itself. I watched all of it. 7 hours of footage. Most of it is Ryan's camera. Shaky, loud, him performing for an audience. But the last hour, that's Noah's body cam, and it shows everything. I should have warned him better, should have made him understand what Howard knew. But I was afraid of sounding like Howard, afraid of losing my credibility. I had tenure to protect, a career. Howard lost everything because he told the truth. I wasn't going to make that mistake. So I let Noah walk into that forest. And now he's a tree. Howard's research. Howard spent 15 years studying Blackwood. He interviewed survivors, people who went in and came back out. Only 3 in recorded history. One was a park ranger named Tom Adkins. He walked out after 6 days, said the forest kept offering him escapes, his childhood home, his dead wife, safety. He refused to believe any of it. He died of a stroke 2 years later. The autopsy found wood pulp in his brain tissue, thin filaments of cellulose growing through his gray matter. Tom took 2 years to show symptoms after escaping. The other survivors, 3 years, 5 years, but their symptoms all started the same way. After they told their stories, after they relived the experience, after they bore witness. All 3 survivors said the same thing. The forest offers you escapes. The moment you believe you're safe, it has you. But Howard believed something else, something the scientific community called insane. He thought the forest didn't just digest bodies, he thought it digested attention itself. Observation, memory, narrative. And he was right. All 3 survivors developed symptoms years after escaping, after telling their stories over and over, after thinking about Blackwood day after day. The forest spreads through witness, through attention. Physical contact is just the first taste, but sustained observation, that's what roots you. That's what lets it map your consciousness and pull you back. You don't have to be in the forest for it to digest you. You just have to think about it long enough, hard enough, with enough focus. I went to the police, showed them the footage. They filed it as evidence in a missing persons case, said the boys probably got disoriented and succumbed to exposure. Their families held memorials. Ryan's YouTube channel became a conspiracy theory hub. People said it was a hoax, found footage marketing, that Ryan staged it for views. But I knew. I went back to Blackwood 3 times. Once in January to map the site, document the location. I told myself it was research. Once in February to collect samples, bark tissue, soil, root structures. I told myself I was being scientific. And once in late February because I couldn't stop myself, because I woke up thinking about the forest, because I dreamed about walking under those trees. I didn't go back for research. I went back because it wanted me to. I found the clearing where Noah's camera stopped recording. There are 3 young trees there now, healthy, vibrant. Their bark has a strange texture, smooth, almost like skin. I pressed my ear against one, breathing. Slow, steady, rhythmic. And if you listen long enough, you hear whispers, fragments of words, memories bleeding through the wood. One of them sounds like Noah.
I am recording this on March 3rd, 2020, 4 months since I found the footage. 2 weeks ago, I woke up with dirt under my fingernails. I don't remember going outside, but my shoes were muddy, and there were pine needles in my hair. Fresh, from a species that doesn't grow within 50 miles of my apartment. Last week, I noticed something growing behind my left ear. A small green shoot. I tried to cut it off with scissors. It grew back overnight, longer than before. The footage infected me. Not the SD cards themselves, not the physical media. The act of watching, of bearing witness, of paying attention. I found Howard's last journal entry yesterday. It was in a safety deposit box. His lawyer sent it to me, instructions in his will to deliver it if I ever asked about Blackwood. The forest doesn't just consume bodies. It consumes attention, observation, memory. Every person who learns about Blackwood becomes a potential root, an extension. The more you think about it, the deeper you sink. But his handwriting was shaking, and the last line was scratched out over and over, like he didn't want anyone to read it. I held the page up to the light. It said, "I was wrong about belief." Belief doesn't protect you from the forest. It makes you stay conscious during conversion. It keeps you aware while you're digested. David's still in there, still conscious, still suffering, still holding on to that compass, still believing it means something. Howard thought belief was a shield, but it's not. It's an anchor. It keeps you tethered to your consciousness while the forest unmakes everything else. You don't get the mercy of oblivion. You get eternity as a witness to your own consumption. The forest is growing, not physically, conceptually. Every person who hears this story, who watches the footage, who thinks too hard about what happened, they might become a root, an extension. Tom Adkins took 2 years to show symptoms.
I'm showing them in 3 months. Maybe because I watched the footage obsessively. Maybe because I went back 3 times. Or maybe the forest is getting faster, stronger, more efficient at converting witnesses into roots. Or maybe that's just paranoia. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe the shoot behind my ear is just a skin tag. Maybe the dirt under my nails is from gardening I don't remember. But I don't have a garden. I live in a 4th-floor apartment. I'm going back tomorrow. Not to fight it, not to study it. I need to know if Noah's still aware in there, if any part of him is still conscious, if consciousness really survives the conversion, or if we're all just meat and wood and the forest wearing our memories like masks. Howard thought if you went willingly, with full knowledge, understanding what was happening, you could join the network without losing yourself. That you could become part of the forest while staying you. But he was wrong about belief, so maybe he was wrong about that too. Maybe consciousness doesn't survive. Maybe it's just the forest using our voices, playing back our memories like recordings. I don't know. God, I don't know anymore. If you're listening to this, you might be part of it now. The forest might know you through these words, through your attention. So here's what you do. Don't think about Blackwood Ridge. Don't look it up. Don't try to find it. Don't let your attention root there. But you will. Because now you're wondering if it's real. If I'm real. If Noah and Ryan and David are really trees. Or if I made all of this up. Maybe I'm already in the forest. Maybe I never left that clearing. Maybe this recording is just the forest using my voice, using my memories, speaking through me like it speaks through the trees. Maybe we're all already trees. We just haven't noticed yet. Maybe consciousness is just wood that thinks it's human. Or maybe I'm wrong about everything. Maybe Howard was crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe there's no forest. Maybe there never was. I'll find out tomorrow. Or I won't.
Trees are watching. I can feel their breath against my skin. Each step pulls